Camp Thunderhead, and when we arrived, we unloaded, we settled in, and we began horsing around. We found ourselves around the basketball hoops, and Mr. Siewert made a bet with me that he could make a shot that seemed at the time impossible. I thought, there's no way this old man is going to make that. I accepted his bet, and if he made the shot, I would lose the tail. As luck would have it, Mr. Siewert made the shot. It was an unbelievable shot, and somehow that signified for me some measure of impact this man would have on our lives. Since I lost the bet, there was a great ceremony in paying my debt. The camp was summoned to the deck, which was where all the important messages occurred. I took to my seat, front and center, while somebody videotaped my tail being removed. The tail then was dropped in an envelope and mailed to my mother. I knew Siewert wasn't fooling around, and he wasn't going to put up with much that summer or ever. That's my Siewert story, and now I'd like to ask you to watch this video to see what others have to say.
I can recall just before we opened the school and we were trying to do some fundraising, and I was worried that we were going to be able to do this. And I remember sitting in the office and opening up envelopes, and there would be envelopes coming in with $25 and $50 and $100, and every once in a while somebody would give us $500 and we'd be ecstatic about that. And then one day, I opened up an envelope, and it was from Dr. Steve Wu, been a big supporter of Jesuit education. And I knew him, but not well. And I opened up his envelope, and it was a check for $10,000. I started to cry. Crying out. Because I knew then that we were going to be able to do it. It was going to work. Because there would be people like Dr. Wu and others that were going to help us do this.
I commend Larry for being the original, ever-present member of Nativity. We've had a change in principal, administrative team, faculty, and even boards of directors. But you are a continuity for Nativity. Thank you, Larry.
20 years you've been at Nativity Jesuit Middle School, and the legacy you've left are the students that you've impacted.
If the students learn half as much as what I've learned, they've learned a ton. And not just them, but their families. I mean, they're so gracious and they're so grateful, and they express that openly. I love being with them.
Congratulations, Mr. Siewert, on 20 amazing years here at NJMS. I just want to thank you so much for pushing me, being stern with me throughout high school and in college.
Thanks for keeping us all in line, especially me, and for reminding me to smack the comments in all the right places.
You pushed me enough to get scholarships done and apply for college, and you got me excited for college.
Your hard work and dedication to myself and my peers has definitely paid off. It's definitely changed my future.
Just always being there for me when I stumble. Just want to say thank you and congratulations on your retirement. I believe you still got a couple years in you.
But always remember, your greatest asset has always been Nancy.
Larry is a terrific, loving, caring father, grandfather, and friend. And I love him for that.
Larry, congratulations on a tremendous, not just 20 years, but 49 years of Jesuit education.
Your passion and dedication to Nativity has been unmatched.
You've left some pretty big shoes to fill, and I hope that I can fulfill the position with as much dignity and character as you have.
You know, I've known you for a long time, and I think I've grown up kind of under your guidance, and I'm a much better man for it. And when I think about how I want my sons to grow up, I hope they end up a lot like you.
When we first talked about coming here, over a bratwurst, you took a huge risk and brought all of who you are so that this could be a success. I couldn't have done it without you, and I wish you every blessing now in the years ahead, and that you may always look back on these years with me, but with everyone here, fondly and gratefully. God bless you.
Congratulations, Mr. Siewert.
If I think about what I would want our students here and our graduates to think about in terms of me, it would be he cared about me. And he went out of his way to show that. There's nothing better than that.
Thank you, Mr. Siewert.
Thank you, Mr. Siewert, for all that you have done for us, including cutting off my tail. We wouldn't be here without you. Without any further delay, I would like to introduce my advocate, my mentor, my friend, the legend, Mr. Larry Siewert.
Thank you, Elisar. There's nativity right there. I met Elisar when he was 10 years old. He was about this high, about the same dimension wide. And look at him now. Married, 3 beautiful daughters, beautiful wife, college graduate, businessman, our first graduate on the board of directors. That's the nativity story right there. So thank you, Elisar. Thank you, Father Tom. And we can take care of that old jug on this Saturday, 8 o'clock, please. Won't be late, or you get another. Greg Boyle, and all of you, and all your colleagues for the work that you do, but not just for the work that you do, but more for the spirit in which you do it. You've been a great inspiration to me and to the work here at Nativity. And I would mention again, if you have not read the book, Tattoos on the Heart, it's very worthwhile. You can imagine after 49 years of working in Jesuit education that a lot of emotions have bubbled up in me over the last several months. The most consistent and predominant emotion has been gratitude. And that seems easy to say in one sense, but I've tried to let that wash over me in lots of ways as I've thought about people and things. I established 2 priorities in my life. Family was first, school was second. And I chose that. And it meant some other things weren't so available. I don't golf, I don't fish, I don't play cards, I don't go to a lot of sporting events, things like that. And I don't say that with regret. I say that because that's what I chose. I wanted to spend my time and energy with my family, and that time and energy with school and all those activities. And I'm grateful I had that opportunity to make that choice. And my family, most of whom is here tonight. Everybody except my daughter Sandra, who many of you know, and the boys who know Mrs. Latz, and Mr. Latz, who worked at Nativity. Sandy taught with us for 9 years. She's not able to be here, but the rest of the family is here. And there are times in anybody's career and sacrifices must be made, especially with educational work, sacrifices of time and energy that were there. And so I'm very grateful to my family. Many of you know my wife Nancy. And I must simply say, it's not a simple thing, but I can simply say it, that if I was able to do anything at all, she stood by me in the good times and the bad times and a lot of stuff in between. She lived 49 years of Jesuit education as well. We're celebrating our 48th anniversary this summer. And so she was there hand in hand at every step, at every turn, at every decision, at every heartbreak. What I would say to her in gratitude almost can't be expressed. But I'd like you to help me do that. She's a beautiful woman over there. If she would stand up, please. I've been blessed so much to have worked with men and women over these years who have been absolutely outstanding. I wish I could list them all for you, and I won't do that, but I will mention two people. I met Billy Johnson in 1967 as a 14-year-old who came out for freshman football at that time. And since then, now he's grown, as you know, Father William T. Johnson, S.J. And very simply, that he invited me to help him start this school. Actually, it was 21 years ago because we spent a year setting things up before we actually opened the doors. There simply would not be a nativity school if there was not a Bill Johnson. Thank you, Bill. The other person I would like to mention by name is my favorite nun, the school sister of Notre Dame. When Bill and I were trying to put the school together, we would have conversations like this. We were going to have a summer camp. And he'd say to me, "You ever done a camp?" "No." "Have you?" "No." "Well, what the hell, you know? That'll work out." "Have you ever worked with middle school?" "No." "Have you?" "No." Well, and maybe that wouldn't have worked out so well. But God put in front of us a person who was so instrumental, a person who put order into chaos. Sister Jean Elman, school sister in Notre Dame. Where are you, Jean? That lady knows what she's doing. I want to thank the families of our students. And you'd think it would be easy because it's natural kind of for parents to want to take the best that's available for their children. But when you're a family living on the south side of Milwaukee, aren't so much familiar with language and culture that's going on around here, it's not so easy. And so we're at huge risks of coming out of your comfort zones to send their sons, first of all, 5 weeks of summer camp every summer. And they entrusted us with their children, their most precious gifts. And they supported us. And they rallied around us. And they embraced us. And they did that for me as well. They opened their hearts and they opened their homes. And I benefited from that personally, and Nativity benefited from that just greatly. Those of you that have heard me at various other banquets in the past know that I like to tell some stories. And I'd like to share just a couple quick ones with you. This guy is here tonight, he's going to recognize I'm talking about him when I say that
He was a young man that came to Nativity. He was virtually on his own because of his family situation. Even though he was living in a family setup, he was pretty much on his own, called his own shots. Came and went on his own. He didn't do particularly well with us, although he was a very bright guy. And when he graduated, he went to Dominican high school. Didn't do very well. And at the end of the year, they didn't invite him back. And so he transferred to South Division. And after he was there for a while, he came and we talked, and he said, I gotta get out of here. This isn't working out. I said, well, you dug yourself in this hole. If you do well this year, in that situation, we'll work on getting you replaced at another school. And he did. And so then Dominican took him back as a junior. Something happened that year too. And at the end of the year, they didn't invite him back for his senior year. And we talked a lot. And he ended up going to Hamilton High School. And I was there at his graduation. And he started to wake up that year. Went to UWM, started to do better and better. All this time, he was supporting himself. He was working at the Pick and Save over on the south side. Became produce manager when he was 17 or something like that. And at UWM, he became a McNair Scholar. Graduated. Went on to get a master's degree in a year in the summer at the University of Michigan. And just now has completed his first year of doctoral studies at the University of Illinois, Chicago. This kid is absolutely amazing. His resilience. And he will say to me, as he has done many, many times, thank you. Thank you for what Nativity has given to me. A second young man I'd like to mention to you, also a very nice kid. Shortly after his senior year in high school, when he graduated, he got involved with the wrong guys. And there's a lure of getting involved with drugs because there's money there. And this kid had never had any money. His family was very, very poor. And he thought he could start out by just selling a little bit and making a little money, and pretty soon he grew and grew and grew. And sure enough, he did get arrested, possession with intent, those kind of things, a couple felonies. He was sentenced to 4 years, Coleraine Correctional Institution. In those 4 years, he and I grew really close. I visited him 5 or 6 times a year. We would write back and forth. We hooked him up through MATC, who had a program at Coleraine. Of all the hundreds of guys who were in that facility, only 13 or 14 of them are taking academic courses through MATC. And he got his business certificate after 2 years. He got all A's and B's. They loved him up there. They didn't want to see him go. He ran their soccer program for 3 years. Their welding instructor asked him to take the course so he could then team teach it with them and work with the students who couldn't speak English. Unfortunately, it was not documented. And so when he was released, he went right into custody, and 2 or 3 weeks later, he was deported. And he's now in Guadalajara, and we still stay in touch on Facebook, and that kind of thing. And I remember the last time I saw him, realizing that this may be the last time I would ever see him. And we hugged each other, and we each had tears in our eyes, and we kind of doing the male thing, like, yeah, everything's good, fine, but I think of him so often. He never blamed anybody but himself for the trouble he got in. He took full responsibility. And he thanked me, and he thanked Nativity for all of what he had. And he will be a successful business person down there. He's got an education, he's bilingual, he's smart, and he's driven. Nativity lives on in that kid, and he knows it, and he's thankful for it. Many of you know the story of Carlos Torres, the youngest of 10 children. None of us, or several of his siblings, didn't graduate from high school. None of them went to college. Very bright kid. He knew very little English when he came to Nativity, but he just was a superstar. When he finished our place, he went to Market High School. When he finished there, he went to the University of Wisconsin on a Med Scholars program. We had to talk his mom into letting him go, she wanted him to stay home. When he finished there, he had his choice of going to medical school in Madison, here at the Medical College of Milwaukee, University of Chicago, or Harvard. His mother, of course, wanted him to come back to Milwaukee and live at home again. She never heard of Harvard. He just finished his 3rd year there and is about to start his 4th year. He's just chosen his specialty is pediatrics. And his desire is to come back to the neighborhood and serve. He's so grateful for Nativity and what it allowed for him. He's very gracious in talking about that. And I'll tell you this, none of that would be possible. Those stories, or so many more, you see all the graduates that are here tonight, none of that would be possible without people like you. You are the ones that made this happen. In your support, you also took a risk. You put your faith in us, just like the families did. And we didn't want to let you down. But you have done that. And so,